YouTube, what is up? It's your boy Jason from the Lot Talk, and I'm back for another NBA video breakdown, free picks, and player prop prediction for today, February 12th, 2025. And hey man, if you listened to that last YouTube video, we absolutely cashed out. We went 4-0 on all the YouTube video picks. I also killed it in my premium. I went 3-0 in NCAA and 2-1 in my premium. The only thing that lost was the free play given on my Instagram. Jalen Duren, over points and rebounds. He was doing well. Just the Pistons killed the Bulls so bad. He didn't even play the fourth quarter and even part of the third. It is what it is, man. Sometimes these blowouts work in your favor and not in your other favor. But if you guys been listening, you guys been absolutely cashing out, man. Like I always say, man, if you want to keep on coming up here and see me drop these gems day after day, hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment for that YouTube algorithm. It only helps me push these videos out to more people so I can continue to come up here and drop these gems. Guys, let's go break it down. We have a large slate of games today. I think 12 games or 15 games. So I'm going to try my best to go through every single game. There will be some games I'm going to skip because of the injury, so I won't dwell on them. Let's go talk about it and let's go run through them. If you have any questions, put them in the DMs. Who do you guys like today? What are you looking at? I'm going to be replying to everything. We'll probably do another giveaway for some of the commenters on the YouTube. Let's get it rocking and rolling, and let's go smoke the books, baby. All right, the first game I see on the board is the San Antonio Spurs against the Boston Celtics. Boston laying 8.5 points at home. They just came off a pretty big victory, and looks like they'll get Jaylen Brown back, who was not playing last time out. So we'll see how they do. I mean, obviously Boston beat the Pelicans, not a big victory, but now they're facing a Spurs team who, you know, they kind of been falling back, I think, a little bit, in my opinion. De'Aaron Fox, you know, he's being integrated into this team. I think he will be a big part of the offense, but I honestly think that he should be the starting point guard and put Chris Paul off the bench, but that's my personal opinion. Nonetheless, I mean, they got Devin Vassell, who's been excellent. Obviously, Wembanyama, a true star. I'm not going to say too much about this game. I mean, I think Boston is the better team. 8.5 points is a lot. They have not been super consistent at covering, especially at home. If you've been betting on Boston spread, you've been getting absolutely ripped so far this season. But I do think they're the better team. They're going to beat them everywhere. I mean, Spurs defense has not really come back ever since Sohan has come back. And, I mean, on paper, it favors Boston many assets. I think Boston probably wins and covers this game. I'll probably look at other spots as well. I mean, I'll probably look at maybe like Jason Tatum rebounds and assists, or maybe PRA. Depends if Brown plays or not. You also could look at Wembanyama on his rebounds and assists possibly. I mean, he has a good matchup against Porzingis. I mean, we targeted Khalil Ware against him. He didn't get a lot of rebounds until maybe one quarter, but that was a little unfortunate. But yeah, those are some props I would maybe focus in on. But other than that, I mean, it's not like my favorite game on the board. I'll focus on Boston. I think Boston gets the job done and covers this 8.5. All right, next game on the board. I think it's a good because there's some implications for this game in my opinion. But we have the Charlotte Hornets against the Orlando Magic. Orlando, they're laying 12.5 points at home, bro. We haven't seen that in a long time. And Orlando's not been playing well, bro. I mean, yes, I mean, they've kind of been playing a little bit better, but they have not been in that dominant form that they've been in previous seasons or even previous games when they were all healthy. As of right now, it looks like there's a lot of money and bets on the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, I get it. Big number. Magic have not really been able to cover any number almost, especially big ones like that. I mean, they just came off a loss against an Atlanta Hawks team who doesn't have a lot of players. No Jalen Johnson, no DeAndre Hunter. And I thought it was a good matchup for them, the Magic, to be honest. But Hornets, they're without their best player, obviously. I mean, LaMelo Ball is built like Anthony Davis for some reason. He's not been able to stay healthy, and he's the heart and soul of this team. Their main guy now is going to be Miles Bridges, and I guess maybe Josh Green or Nick Smith. So Charlotte, not really rolling with their best talent. I think Orlando probably can beat this team, but I don't know if they're going to cover. I mean, their offense has not been good, and neither has their defense. Yes, their games, you look at it on paper, been low scoring for the other team, but it's not just because they've been playing good defense. They just play at a very, very slow pace. Hornets also play at a very slow pace, even though you would think with LaMelo playing or LaMelo being on that team, you think of high-powered offense, but when he's not there, their pace slows down even more dramatically. So, I mean, very low total, 204. I would lean under on one of these teams' totals or even the game total. If I had to pick a side, I guess I would have to roll with the Magic. I think They're just too physical, too deep of a team. They should win, but as I said, they have not been good at covering. Something's up. But if I was forced to make a play, I would lean with the Magic even at this massive spread. But obviously, low total and a massive spread is not very favorable. But I don't know. There's really no other way I can think about this. I think Orlando probably steps up their defense, and maybe their offense wakes up against a Charlotte team who has not been stellar at all. On paper, Magic are the much, much better team. So that's why I'll leave it there. Next game on the board. One of the teams are on a back-to-back, and we bet against them, and a lot of people faded me. But hey, we got the Pacers against the Washington Wizards. My Knicks absolutely mollywopped that Pacers team. We had the Knicks first half. Just to give you a gem, I put in my premium. The Knicks are now 6-0 to the first half in their last 5 games on the road. So very positive in my opinion. But yeah, man, we got the Pacers going against a Washington Wizards team who's actually been playing very, very well. Wizards are laying. Wizards are 9.5-point dogs at home, and believe it or not, if you've been betting on this Wizards team, you've actually been doing pretty good in my opinion. I mean, in their last, call it, let's see, few games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've covered 4 out of their last 6 games. Last 2 they did not cover. They didn't cover against the Spurs, or I believe the Hawks as either. So, well, actually, they did cover against the Spurs. So they've been covering in 5 out of their last 6 games. This one's using the closing line. If you use the opening line for the Wizards, which was like 12, they just covered by 1 point. So Wizards have been playing extremely good, at least covering the spread. Maybe not winning outright, but all we care about is covering. Indiana, something's up. They have not been playing well either. Their defense has not been stepping it up. It was very good in the start of 2025. Then something's happened. They have not been playing the same. I don't know if it's because Miles Turner's not been playing or he's been out. Maybe he's a big part of that, but they'll be having Thomas Bryant as the center. Pacers really fast paced. Washington plays at a fairly fast pace as well. And yeah, man, I mean, they might be getting Alex Sarbat, which I don't think is a huge plus. I mean, Middleton, Smart, and Sadiq Bey for the Wizards are still out, so they'll be rolling with their main guys. I mean, look, I can't, on paper, Pacers all day, but for some reason, the Wizards have been playing extremely well and covering these numbers. So, I don't know, on a back-to-back, it's not a very favorable spot for the Wizards. We take a look at their last few back-to-back games. They are 1-9 in their last 10 games against the spread when it comes to covering on the back-to-back games. In terms of their last 5 games, they're only 1-4 in their last 5 games on back-to-back. So, back-to-back has not been a favorable spot. So, they have a back-to-back with travel. Granted, it's not the furthest travel, but, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get in front of this Wizards team. I know the Indiana Pacers are the much better team, but I like props in this game. This total is 239, pretty high total. So if you like betting overs, not a bad spot. Siakam has a good matchup. Technically, Thomas Bryant has a good matchup as well. Washington on their side, I mean, Jordan Poole has a pretty decent matchup against Halliburton. So maybe those are some areas to attack. But if I was to bet a spread, give me the Wizards, man. Let's see if they keep on rolling, covering these numbers. All right, guys, we have a few more games coming up. Next game, we got the Sixers against the Brooklyn Nets. I'm not going to say too much about this game. I don't like this game. Wizards on a back-to-back. They've been playing terribly. There's no Embiid in this game, so Yabu Sele will be taking the starting role. All I'll say is this. The Brooklyn Nets defense has been one of the top 2 or top 3 best defense in the league. So if they step up their offense in any way, they could possibly be covering a lot more games, but it's a very low spread. Philly's only a 2.5-point favorite on the road. They're on a back-to-back. If I was to look at this game, I'll probably look at props, maybe. But given how good the Nets defense is, I mean, they kind of been like the Wizards, man, proving me wrong. I'll take the Nets plus the points. I don't know. Something's up. They've been able to cover games, but this is like outright win. I'm pretty sure everyone's going to glance over it and just assume Philly's going to win. But I think on the numbers, Brooklyn has been playing extremely well. There's a ton of bets right now on the Sixers. And I think the Nets can continue, I guess, their decent play and maybe win outright, or at least maybe cover this 3-point spread. All right, guys, let's talk about this next game. Let me get a sip of coffee for this one because, goddamn, this is probably the best game on the board. My New York Knicks against the Atlanta Hawks in MSG. I'm not going to be going to this game, but man, this is a big one. But the Knicks are on a back-to-back with travel, and this is obviously a big rivalry type game. Knicks are 7.5-point favorites, bro. 7.5-point favorites is pretty crazy. But on the back-to-back with no rest, look, man, the Knicks have not been playing that well on that. 1-4 in their last 5. I really think it's because of the pressure and the amount of time all these starters have to play with the Thibodeau system, I mean, it's terrible in my opinion. Look, on the head-to-head, I'll say this just like this. The Hawks have literally done very well against the Knicks. Last time the Knicks did play them, though, however, they won 119-110. But before that, were 0-3 at the spread and basically straight up against this team. So, Hawks, much different team. There's no Jalen Johnson, no Capella, no DeAndre Hunter now, which I think was a bad trade again. But Hawks have been playing okay, man. I mean, their season, I think, in my opinion, is basically done. In their last 5, they've actually done fairly well, man. They've covered all 5 of their last 5 games. The Knicks, on the other hand, have not done so. They've only been 2 out of their last 3 have they been able to cover. I mean, 2 of their last 5 they've been able to cover. So, man, I mean, I think the Knicks are the better team. I think the Knicks should win again, and they should cover this number. They have not been the best covering. They've not been the best on back-to-backs, but the matchup is solid. I mean, the Hawks' defense has not been good. The Knicks' defense on their side, though, however, has not been good either. So, in this game, what do I like? I like points. The only thing is, OG Anunoby might be playing in this game. So, if that happens, maybe the defense takes a step back up, because ever since he's been out, their defensive rating has dropped pretty dramatically. He didn't play last night, so maybe they're saving him for today. And I think they could have been saving him because they want to come back and beat the brakes off the Hawks. I mean, an unsolicited rivalry, but give me the Knicks -7.5. I think they can cover this game and beat these guys outright, beat the brakes off the Hawks. But again, I would say wait and see if OG plays. If he doesn't play, I think even the over is even more alive, because I think the Knicks offense has been really stepping it up. They've been playing against teams at a fast pace when their other team plays at a very fast pace as well. So give me the Knicks. I also like the over in this game, so 2 ways you could maybe look at this. Some props that could work out maybe. Towns, I mean, he's been playing incredible, bro. His assist numbers have been insane. But then even on the Hawks, man, Dyson Daniels has been playing very, very well. Knicks, Hart, and even Miles Bridges, they have good matchups against these Hawks teams. So just take a look at those games. I mean, take a look at these players and also pay attention to that injury report, because OG Anunoby is a huge piece to this Knicks team, and in my opinion, their defensive rating. All right, guys, we have a few more games left. You've been with me this long, man. I really do appreciate you. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, man, if you want to see me keep on coming and dropping more plays just like this. And let's get it going, guys. Let's see. The Cleveland Cavaliers against the Toronto Raptors. Cleveland on the road, laying 13.5 points on the road against a Toronto team who may be getting back RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl. I see them on the injury report, and that would be interesting if they do come back, because, yeah, obviously the Raptors on a back-to-back. They just played last night, and now they're going to be playing against probably the best team or the second best team on the East. They just played at Philly, now traveling back to Toronto, beat the Philadelphia 76ers outright, and they were 10.5-point dogs. The one thing I will say, and I've said it before in other games, the Raptors have actually been pretty good covering when they're on a back-to-back. In their last 10 games, this goes across even to last season. They're 7 out of their last 10 games they've covered on back-to-back games. Far in the last 3, they've covered 2 of their last 3 on back-to-back. So hasn't really affected them too much. And hey, look, if they're playing at home, at the crib, against a Cleveland team who has had some injuries, but also the Raptors team could be getting a little bit healthier if RJ Barrett and Poeltl come back. I like the spread, bro. I mean, Toronto, their defense has taken a step down, yes. I mean, they've gotten beat down by other teams. Toronto actually beat Cleveland last time they played when they were on a back-to-back, and they went into Cleveland and beat them. So this is a revenge spot for the Cleveland Cavaliers, technically. I don't know, but the thing is, Toronto's been an excellent team playing at home. They've been one of the best covering teams at home this season. So let me just take a step back and let me see. Look at their home games. In their last 10 home games, they've covered 60% of their last home games. Obviously, Cleveland's been good at covering anywhere, whether it's home or away. So, but the only thing I will say is this. If you look at Cleveland's last 5 home games, 5 road games, they've only covered 1 out of their last 5 road games. That's just a trend. That's just a stat. Doesn't mean you go bet it every single time, but it's a good spot for Toronto, especially if they're getting healthy. So I'm going to take a stab at this dog, man. Give me the Toronto Raptors. Yes, they're on a back-to-back, but if they're healthy and they have RJ and Jakob Poeltl back, I like their chances to just stay competitive and cover the spread. I don't think they'll win outright, but at least they have a chance to cover this number. It is a big number at 14, 13.5 points. Give me the Raptors at this big plus money price. All right, guys, next game on the board. We have the Sacramento Kings against the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans, 5-point dogs at home. Sacramento laying 5 points. I mean, look, it's a tough game. I think Sacramento's the better team. Pelicans have not been able to cover numbers. It's a low spread. I like props a lot in this game. You could look at guys like Malik Monk. He's been doing very, very well. Sabonis, he has a good matchup against Yves Missi. You can even on the Pelican side, you could look at, I think, Zion or Trey. They could have big games in this spot. But if I was to pick a side, to me, I like the over. I think this game could be a fast-paced, high-scoring, shootout-type game. But to pick a side, I don't know, man. I mean, Pelicans, even though they've been getting some favorable spots or some big numbers, they've been getting blown out. And I think Sacramento, they're going to start getting their chemistry going back together with Levine and DeRozan and Monk and Sabonis. So give me the Kings -5, but I mean, it's not my favorite game on the board. I think the props are where you want to look at. All right, we have 8 more games, guys, so I'm going to try to go through them. I'm going to skip through games if I don't really see too much to talk about. But next game, we got Detroit against Chicago. Didn't we just see this game yesterday, but it's a back-to-back. Simply put, I'll say it again, Detroit should mollywop these guys again. I don't care if Lonzo Ball comes back in Chicago. He's a game-time decision. Jalen Duren has another good matchup. Cade Cunningham has a good matchup as well. Do I think they blow them up by 40 points again? Probably not. But I think Detroit wins again and wins by double digits. All right, next game, we have the Milwaukee Bucks against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Edwards and Conley are game 10 decisions. Conley did not play last game, but Edwards did. We'll see who plays. Giannis is still out. Milwaukee are 6.5-point favorites on the road, so it makes me think that Edwards is not playing. I would be very surprised if there's still this big of dogs with Edwards playing. So because the injury situation is not very clear to me, I'm not really willing to want to go give a play out. But if I was to make a play, I would probably say maybe take a look at Kuzma or Lillard. But I don't know. I guess Bucks first half. That's what I would look at, but not my favorite game on the board because I don't know if Edwards is playing. Even if Edwards is playing, Minnesota has still not been playing that great, but he's been playing very well. So just be careful. Obviously, if he plays, he's going to have a huge, very, very high prop line because he's the main guy on that team. There's no Randall. There's no DiVincenzo. So, yeah, man. Give me the Bucks first half or maybe full game, but not my favorite game on the board. Too many injuries, weird number. Next game on the board, we have the Miami Heat against the Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC laying 13.5 points. Big news is that Chet Holmgren's not starting. And then Miami, Tyler Hero might be playing. Even if Tyler Hero plays, man, I mean, I think the Heat are outmatched here. I mean, OKC's been able to beat down no matter who they play. OKC's defense is absolutely incredible. Miami's defense is still pretty good, but I don't think it's as good as it without Jimmy and their former chemistry. But I think Andrew Wiggins will be a good piece on this team. But for me, OKC are nobody. I think OKC wins and covers at home, their best spot, and they beat that on this Heat team. But this is a decent game for some props, so I would say pay attention. But both teams play at a pretty slow, like Miami plays at a pretty slow pace. So, but they do have shooters, though. Sometimes this game could fly over totals or just go super under if they're cold. All right, guys, we have 5 more games left. I'm going to try to go through this and get it under 25 minutes. But next game, we got the Phoenix Suns against the Houston Rockets. Houston laying 6.5 points at home. Phoenix is on a back-to-back. Kevin Durant looks like he's playing. Beal looks like he's out, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone sits out. Houston's not been playing their best ball, in my opinion. They're still without Van Fleet, who I think is a core piece to this team. Maybe he's not a stat sheet stuffer, but he's a veteran who's been playing very, very well and leading this team, in my opinion. But I mean, Houston, their best spot has been at home, playing, their slow-paced, strong defensive type game. Phoenix has not been the best on back-to-backs. They're one of the worst teams, if you guys have looked at previous videos with me, on back-to-backs. Doesn't mean you just go and go against them in this game. I mean, if you take a look at Phoenix, their last 5 games, or 4 games at least, they're 0-3. They had 1 push. Houston, they're obviously not on a back-to-back. Houston will be playing at home, but their best spot has not been covering at home. It's actually been on the road. So I digress, though. I don't know. I don't like this game at all, man. I mean, I'm going to skip this game. I think props maybe is where you want to look at. You could look at Aiden Thompson. He's been doing incredible. Phoenix has been dreadfully terrible against guards. Even Jalen Green, you could look at him. I think both guys could have big games. Even Sengun, if he plays. Nick Richards is not a good center, in my opinion. He pretty much got dominated by Zach Edey on the rebounding side. On the Phoenix side, I mean, Houston's a tough team across the board. So, I mean, maybe you could look at Kevin Durant. But, yeah. For me in this game, I'll lean with Houston 6.5, but I think this is a little too many points. I think maybe this line should be at 5.5, but that back-to-back is pretty big, so take that into consideration. All right, the next game we got on the board, man. My Portland Trailblazers against the Denver Nuggets. I did not bet Portland last game. I thought it was a really good spot for a Denver revenge game, but now we got something very similar here, man. Portland, I mean, they can actually match up pretty good against this Nuggets team. Obviously, the last time they got blown out. And we'll see, man. I think Portland can maybe step it back up and get back into their better form. Denver got the better of them. They might get Michael Porter back today, but I don't know if that's a positive. Sometimes he's actually a hindrance, in my opinion. But Denver's laying 11.5 points. Would they go blow them out again? I mean, they should. They are the better team. But I think it's too many points. I think Portland... I'm hoping for them to get back into their form. I had Anthony Simons assist, and they took 3 away from him. They stat corrected him 3 times. I've never seen that. I've seen that maybe 1, at most 2, but 3 times I would have hit my over if they just didn't do any of that, man, or just 2 of them they didn't do. It is what it is, man. I think Simons, like I said, has a good matchup. Denia Vigia has a good matchup as well. The big thing is, though, is there's no DeAndre Aiden. He is out. So they'll have Donovan Clingan playing, and DeAndre Ayton's a big piece to this offense. He can shoot those mid-ranges, and I think he's the only one that can really cover Jokic in any fashion. So I hate to fade my Portland team, man, but I think Nuggets going to get the job done again. Give me the Nuggets minus 11.5. I think they go blow out this team once again. Next 3 games on the board, we got another rematch. The LA Lakers against the Utah Jazz. Utah, 8.5 point favorite. 8.5 point dogs at home. Lakers, man, they've been on fire. Luka looks like he's a game time decision, but I don't know if he plays. Obviously, Utah got blown out last time they played against Lakers in LA. And I think in a revenge spot, Utah's been one of the better teams at home. Historically, obviously, they have not been covering too many games at all. LA going in Utah. Utah's a tough place to play. Obviously, that big motivation win to get Luka his first dub as a Laker was a big event. Obviously, everyone went on their A game. A lot of, in my opinion, what you call is like a huge ego boost. And now this could be a flat spot playing the same team on the road. And especially if Luka doesn't play, I don't know, man. I kind of like Utah. Give me Utah plus 8.5. The matchup is very similar to last time. As I said, if the Lakers want to go attack the basket, I mean, Utah still has some of the best defenders at the basket in Markkanen, Collins, and Kessler. And Utah can definitely light it up from 3 and in the paint. But we'll see. I like Utah at home, at the crib. Let's go rock with them. And let's talk about, before I go to these last 2 games, guys, if you've been with me this long, man, I really do appreciate you guys. Let's keep on smoking the books, man. I can't do NCAA in these videos, but let's talk about these last 2 NBA games. Let's do it. Golden State Warriors against the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas, the team of injuries, bro. They have a center bug. Anthony Davis is out, and so is my boy Daniel Gafford, bro. What the hell? But, hey, man, the Warriors got a new spark of life. 5.5 point favorites on the road. Jimmy has been playing insane. They're going to have Draymond Green playing the center, I guess, to match up with PJ. And Golden State's been excellent playing small ball. And I don't know, I think the defensive woes, the injuries for Dallas has just been a little too much for me. I think Dallas could match up well, but given the injuries and the lineup changes, and I think the new spark the Warriors have been having, they've been playing much better ball. I'm going to roll with the Warriors, minus 5.5 on the road. I think Jimmy, Curry have been seeing things change. They're over 500 now. And I feel bad for the Dallas lineup, bro. I think their egos have been crushed getting rid of Luka. Now seeing more injuries. It's kind of insane. Even, let me see. I'm trying to see if... but yeah, man. Give me the Warriors, minus 5.5. And all right, guys. Here's the last game on the board, man. Thank you so much. You've been with me this long. We got the Memphis Grizzlies on the road against the Los Angeles Clippers. Looks like Clippers are 4.5 point favorites, man, against this Memphis team who just beat down on the Phoenix Suns. We had the Memphis Grizzlies last game. And it looks like they're on a back-to-back, and I don't see anyone injured yet, but I'm a little surprised that Clippers are this big of a favorite because Clippers, I mean, look, man, I mean, yeah, they beat Utah. That's not a big victory in my opinion. Utah's not that good, but they have not been covering that well at all, man. They lost and did not cover against the Pacers, the Lakers, the Raptors, and the Charlotte Hornets, while Memphis has been playing very good, bro. Just beat the Phoenix Suns. The thing is, they're on a back-to-back, so in terms of back-to-back games, it has not affected this Memphis team. So I think they're wrongfully so put as a decent-sized dog. Unless there's injuries that pop up, I think this Memphis team is deep enough where they can handle back-to-backs, and that's the reason why they've been 70% over their last 10 games on back-to-back. So give me the Memphis Grizzlies plus 4.5. I think their pace, their offense, and their defense will just be too much for this Clippers team who has not been playing well. But guys, thank you so much for watching me. And I'll see you guys in the next one.